about you is that you have ambition to be great. My job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Finn Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. And Chris Olave just ran a 4.26. I knew he was a fast. I was expecting like a low 4.3 here, like a 4.31, 4.32, like Calvin Austin posted earlier. But I didn't know we were talking Jalen Waddle fast right now. Like that's absolutely ridiculous. Impressive. Then again, John Ross ran like a 4.2. And I mean, we all know how that worked out. So it's all about putting it on the field. But Olaf got me looking at my wide receiver big board like, damn. Shout out to him. It was a crazy day. We'll get into it all. Obviously, my boy David Bell took a real hit. He ran like a 4.64, I believe, and then second time was like a 4.6. And we all remember Landry ran a 4.6. David Bell's still a really good X receiver, I think, in any offense. I'm not really too worried. Just like I know a lot of people really overreacting about Treylon Burke running a 4.5. Well, he ran a 4.55 and then he ran a 4.5 on a second attempt. Listen, the guy is like 225 pounds, okay? Here is what I got to say, all right? Here's the thing why people shouldn't be freaking out. The guy's 225 and he moves at 4.5 speed, but if you watch him on film, his play speed is much faster than that. I was expecting low 4.5. I was expecting like a 4.44, 4.45 type of speed. But his play, it's another one of those things where you got to watch the tape. His play speed is better than what you saw. And if you look at it, his get-offs today were a little bit not that great or whatever in the underwear Olympics. And you got to think about it, put this into perspective, all right? Let's just put this in perspective. He weighs about 35 pounds more than Jahan Dotson. And Jahan Dotson ran a 4.41, and then his second attempt was a 4.47. All right. So their second attempts were only, it was a 4.5 even against a 4.47. And one guy's 35 pounds heavier than the other one. And I believe if I remember correctly, Jahan Dotson came in at like over 5'10. He was like 5'10 and 3/4 or 5'10 and a half. And Treylon 6'2. So you got 4 inches, and the guy is also 35 pounds heavier, and the speed isn't that far off. People don't realize 4.5 for a guy who's 6'2", 225 is very, very good. Treylon but if people want to pass on him and Treylon want to fall to us at 29, let's go, baby. Drake London also coming in well under the 6'5". USC had him listed as still, I believe, what was he, 6'3"-ish? Let me look at it quickly here. He does it. Let me see. Shout out to Calvin Austin, who had a huge day today too. I know Wan'Dale Robinson, everyone made a big deal. He came in at 5'8", but I saw he just posted like a 4.38, right? 40. He had a faster 40 than Jahan Dotson. The beast. I think didn't Pickens post like a 4.43? Yeah, Drake London came in at what? 6'4"? Just under, 6'3" and a bit, right? I cannot believe I knew Olaf was fast, but not that fast. Kind of crazy. So a crazy combine day. We'll get into some of the numbers and stuff like that. Obviously things are going to have to get updated as they're happening right now. So hopefully what I have lined up for in a bit, updates as we get on. But another one who could follow us at 29, Jameson Williams. Obviously, Jameson is not Jameson is not, torn ACL. He ain't doing anything right now. 40 is just another indicator. You know what I mean? The splits matter more. The splits show like short area explosion and, how quick you're going to be getting off the line and such like that. Give me the splits, 10-yard splits and all that kind of, and 20-yard splits matter too, right? So, Burks, I think it's just an overreaction on his 40 time today. I expect big things. Burks is an absolute monster. I expect big things from him. And then guys, I don't know if you there's a couple things I want to talk about. Shout out Austin. Are you in the chat right now? Are you in the chat foxing around? Austin, are you in the chat right now? This guy's stirring the pot on Twitter today. I was busy today. I didn't have time to chime in, but I'm going to chime in on I want to chime in on Saquon. And I want to Austin, why you got to bring up this injury thing and then somehow it turns in to Tua. All of it always comes back to Tua. It's crazy, man. I don't know. Oh my God, we need free agency to get here because Dolphins Twitter is freaking unbearable. Austin, you better be here. I know you were here not too long ago, and I know Mac Holland's space ended. So where you at, Austin? I know you're in the chat. Okay, Saquon Barkley. Let's talk about this for a sec because now, I guess word came out today at the combine that Saquon Barkley can be had for a 4th-round pick. All right, here's the issue I have with Saquon Barkley. It isn't even. There you are. Yeah, I see you there, Austin. Shout out to the homie Austin. He gave me the down low, the spoiler-free down low on the Batman tomorrow. Got me super excited. Cannot wait. All right, let's talk about Saquon for a sec here, okay? It's not even that he's injury prone to me. It's more so that the injuries, if you watch Saquon, it looks like he's lost a step. Saquon isn't what he was physically and explosiveness wise. And, he just isn't the runner he was like 2-3 years ago. So really, it's really not even about Saquon being injury prone to me. It's what the injuries have done to his body and the toll they've taken. That's my issue with Saquon Barkley. Is we're not getting Saquon from 3 years ago. And Saquon's 26 now? 27? So he's over 25. And the next couple of years, hey, we've all been there. As you get closer to your 30s, and then when you hit your 30s, it always hurts a little bit more every time when you wake up when you're working even physical labor job, let alone taking the hits and punishment he's taking. Like if it was Saquon 3 years ago and he was even coming off an ACL injury, I'd be down 110%. But the thing is, I've seen the results of the injuries adding up for Saquon Barkley, and that's what my issue with Saquon is. And you're gonna have to pay him. J-Boy asks, where's Martin been? Martin, he's been taking like a technology detox, but he's been watching me. I talked to him yesterday. Actually, my phone died on him in the middle of our conversation, and then I got freaking held up with the family and such. Actually, got to give him a call back. Thank you for reminding me. But Martin's around. Austin says, but if it's a 4th, it's so hard to pass up, but I feel you. I get it. Because, hey, now you got to actually, again, see, this is where when you sit back, you look at things objectively and you don't let agendas and subjective feelings get into play. When you take the objective look at it, you sit back and you're like, okay, am I good? Even if he doesn't have the step or the explosiveness he has, am I going to find a better running back in the 4th or 5th round than what I would get with Saquon Barkley right now? That's a valid argument. But again, we come back to the point, you got to pay him. Because he's in his last year, right? So that's that's where you come into play. And remember, they found Elijah Mitchell in the 5th. Griffin Gaming, $5. Saquon played 13 games and only rushed 593 yards and scored 2 touchdowns. What's the appeal of bringing him on? The appeal of is how he was a generational talent before the injuries piled up and took a step away from him. The players on the I agree with you. The offensive line wasn't very good. Thomas was good. Skura was good at times. But yeah, the offensive line wasn't very good. But then again, what the hell is he? We don't even have our offensive line in place yet. I don't know. Oh my God. Christian Watson just ran a 4.28. I got him as my wide receiver 6 right now. And I kept telling y'all it's because I don't believe they're going to draft him. I just don't think, but I'm moving him into the top 5 after now that I've confirmed. His day today has been crazy, by the way. I got to bump him up before that wide receiver big board comes out next week. Yeah, these wide receivers are flying. So my whole issue with Saquon isn't even that he's injury prone, because injury prone is an overblown thing. It's football. Injuries happen. How many players play their whole career, especially at mainly contact positions, and they don't have injuries? Like, injury prone is so overblown, which brings me into Tua. So now this came into, now we get into Tua Tagovailoa, and now everyone on Twitter, because they're bored and had nothing to talk about, it was all about, Christian Watson is legit. I'm bumping him up. Christian Watson is bumping. I'm bumping him up tonight when I'm done here on my board. It's going from 6 to. Let's see here. Well, I know who's coming down, and I hate to do it, but he is. Yeah. Okay. Christian Watson is officially wide receiver 4 for me after today. I'm that guy right now. Nothing actually has really changed, though, other than one other change, and it pains me. But Christian Watson is definitely wide receiver 4 now. Anyways, let's go back here for a sec. Tua. The whole injury prone label, right? The whole durability thing, because I even saw like Perform and Dudley had a back and forth exchange about it, and it was like cordial. There was no hate or nothing like that. It was just cordial back and forth. I think Tua's injury prone? No, and I'm gonna tell you why. The reason why there's a difference between injury prone and prone to injury. And the reason why I'm going to say that this is, okay, even when you go back to 2020, right? First of all, okay, let's go back to Bama. Okay, let's start at Bama. The 2 tightrope surgeries he had weren't even necessary. They were ankle sprains, and if you look into the tightrope surgery, that is done basically to avoid further surgery further surgery. Further sprains. It strengthens your ankle and the joint, right? There's like a zip tie is put in, an orthopedic zip tie is put in, and it lessens the chance of sprains, or minor tears or injuries further to that. Obviously, if you fracture or break your ankle, what are you going to do? But we're talking about like sprains and minor tears, because a sprain is technically a tear, right? So that's all that was done. And that was Bama did it. And Bama's done that to every player who's gotten sprains like that. They get that. I don't know why Bama does that, but they've been doing that the last couple of years, and they have some of the best doctors in the world, right? That's why his hip got popped back into place right away. Why he got fixed up right away is they got access to some of the best doctors in the world, Alabama, right? When you're an SEC powerhouse like they are. So the tight ropes weren't necessary, okay? Let's be honest. The hip was a freak accident. Like, what are you going to say? The hip was a freak accident. Then you go to 2020 when he banged up his finger and he missed that game against the Jets. Remember, Tua wanted to play. Flores held him out. Everyone knows that. That is not secret information. That is not behind the scenes information. Everyone knows he got held out of that game, but he wanted to play when he had that hand injury. Okay? Fast forward to this year. All right? He takes the blindside hit, fractures the ribs. He wants to come back into the game. They shut him down. All right? Now he has a fracture. Obviously, you got to shut him down. They shut him down for a couple weeks. Right? When he went on IR, he was good to go. And I know he was good to go. And I'm not going to say how or why I know he was good to go, but just know that I know he was good to go. He was ready, from everything I understood and I've been told. Tua was ready to come back for the Colts game. That could have been his first game back, was the Colts game. Then you got the finger injury. The finger injury. This man legitimately got benched for Jacoby Brissett, came in at half on primetime. We won the game, and he showed everyone I'm healthy enough to play. And at the current level of health I'm at, I offer you much more than Jacoby Brissett. My point is, you're never going to finish a season at 90%. You're never going to finish a season at 80%. You're lucky if you finish a season at 70, 75% health, okay? You're just going to get nicked and banged up. It's just what's going to happen. That's why there's only 17 games in the season plus the playoff schedule, right? That's why they don't play 82 games like basketball or 162 games like Major League Baseball, because of the toll this game takes on your body. All right? My issue is, can we even, at the NFL level at least, at the NFL level, take away Bama. Let's only evaluate him at the NFL level. Can we even make the evaluation of whether he is injury prone or not? We don't know how many games he's been held out of that he shouldn't have been held out of. We don't know how many games he missed that he put me in, coach, I'm ready to go. We don't know. We haven't been given the opportunity of someone who believes in him and says, when he says, coach, I'm healthy, I'm good enough to go, put me in. And he says, okay, you got this? You got this? Smacks you in the side of the helmet and tells you to get in there. We haven't even been given the chance to see that. So, the reason why I said no is because I don't know if he's injury prone. I don't know how many games he could have played in had he just been let play when he said, I'm good to go. I know he was good enough to play against Houston. Like I said, he could have been back. I've been told by multiple people, the Colts game, he could have came back, including people into his camp. I knew Tua was doing leisure activities when he was on the IR because he was good to go. So he was doing his film study, his game study, but in his off time, when he had time to himself, when he wasn't working to get better, when he wasn't training, or when he wasn't watching film, or when he wasn't studying, when he had his me time, he was participating in leisure activities because he could. Because he was healthy enough to play. So I don't know if he's injury prone. From everything I understand, he would have had a lot more games under his belt. Now, do I think in year one he started too early? Yes. But I'm talking about, like, even though we started him, he still wanted to play in that Jets game we held him out of. Flores held him out of. And then you look at this year, you know, like, he was ready to go. But there was an agenda at play. And that's just what it is. So that's my answer to the whole injury prone thing. You need the context of the situation. It's deeper than just whether he's injury prone or not. None of us know. He was held out of games purposely when he was good to go. So unless someone is, you know, unless someone is better than I am in terms of, at least I'm like good buddies with his trainer. Unless someone's good buddies with someone on the Dolphins training staff, tell me different. And it was not even like, I'm not even lying to you when I say I've had multiple people tell me the Colts, like even someone who's a fellow content creator who's plugged in. He's more on the podcast side of things. Even he heard the same thing. So the whole injury prone thing, people just wasting their time today talking about it. First of all, who cares? It's a new season. I don't care what happened in December of 2021 anymore. It's now March. We're 11 days away from tampering period opening. I'm over that shit. And all of you people wasting your time and wasting your breath, being pessimistic or negative or whatever. And I'll even say to the people wasting their time engaging with them, why bother? Stop looking. You can't move forward if you're caught always looking in the rearview mirror. You're going to crash into something. Keep your eyes on the road because that's where the future leads you to. Stop with this nonsense of worrying about what happened in 2020 and 2021. Those are done. Those are gone now. And like I said, we don't even have the full context of those situations. We don't know. We don't know how many games he truly missed because of injury. We don't know how many games he's truly held out. I mean, I have a good idea, and I've given you guys a pretty good basis of an idea. So, enough. It's ridiculous. People need to get outside and touch grass. Go meet a woman. Go start a family. Go make use of your time. Jesus. On the flip side of things, Mike McDaniel is an absolute stud and a half. I mean, you tell me how he isn't. This is absolutely beautiful stuff that I keep seeing from this guy. I swear on my life, he is he's just more impressive every time. It's truly awesome with Mike McDaniel. And if you didn't see his interview today on Good Morning Football, we're going to play it right here. I'm going to get into it. That's how we're going to open up the content tonight. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at all the running backs and the offensive linemen that were interviewed today that spoke at least at the podium and mentioned they were interviewed like we did with the wide receivers yesterday. I got a couple articles to go over in terms of the running backs and the wide receivers, 2 different articles. We'll talk about that. Appreciate everyone for joining me tonight. And we're also going to look at some combine testing numbers and results after all of that, right? So we'll get an update of the tight ends and the wide receivers today. I'm not really going to go into the quarterback stuff. Everyone making a big deal about Kenny Pickett's hands. It is what it is. I don't, the only 2 quarterbacks I would draft in this right now, because I know Desmond Ridder put on a little show. He ran like a 4.4 or whatever. Desmond Ridder's intriguing. Carson Strong's intriguing. Matt Corral is intriguing. But the only two guys I'm really sold on that would draft in this draft are Malik Willis and Sam Howell. The other guys I got major question marks for. And even I got some questions about my boy Sam and Malik too. So those are the two guys at the top of my quarterback big board. But, I do see the intrigue with Carson. I do see the intrigue with Desmond, and I do see the intrigue with Corral too. So, it's kind of a weak class, right? So, the agenda, if things don't work out at quarterback this year, the agenda we're pushing is Will Levis from Kentucky next year. That's the agenda, baby. All right. But Sam Howell's my boy, and Malik Willis. Those are the two guys. Show says which QB goes first. It's got to be Malik Willis. If the Giants are smart, they draft Malik Willis. I'm telling you. It's going to be Willis, though. Appreciate you, DM. Thank you very much, sir. Or lady. Appreciate you. Either way. All right, guys, let's get into it. I mean, it is all about Mike McDaniel this week, and I love it. And his interview today with Peter Schrager on Good Morning Football is worth the watch. So let's bring that one up for y'all.
What happened here, guys?
Special person, aside from being a special football coach. Yeah, John. Hey, Mike. I didn't know you were there.
McDaniel loving John Lynch, giving him some props.
I appreciate it. I'm out of here now. See you,
McDaniel's the man.
I didn't know what I said.
That was it. You don't remember that moment, or you do? I mean,
No, I remember it.
You're walking by and Lynch is talking about you. It's got to be like meta.
No, it was wild. There was I was on camera with a local Miami station doing an interview. My eyes were blinded by bright lights, so then I was trying to recalibrate, turn around, and I'm like, wait, is John Lynch talking about me?
Smash that like button.
Let me hear this out. And lucky we caught him on a yeah, it was a good one. So it was one that he wanted me to hear, or would want me to hear, but he had no idea.
Yeah.
So it was very organic.
Yeah, and John Lynch was there with you, but you're bringing a bunch of the staff that Kyle had with you. I thought that was really interesting. That Wes Welker and John Embry and the names go on.
Let's go, baby.
The guys are willing to uproot their lives and follow you to Miami. What do you think of the coaching staff now that you finally have put this together and it's like, hey, let's go. We're at Combine. Let's get from here.
I couldn't be prouder. If you'd snapshot the entire staff offensively and defensively and said, hey, this is going to be your first coaching staff as a head coach, I'd be like, wow, who helped me? But it was something I was very fortunate. There's, it was one thing that I knew was paramount of importance to me, really, is having the players. It's all about the players from the jump. So the people connected to them and the teachers that they're going to be with on a daily basis, their aptitude, their integrity, their character was so important to me. So took some time. It was being the third week into the coaching cycle or whatever. It presented some challenges, but it all worked out awesome. I couldn't be happier.
That's why you didn't respond to a text from me for 3 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. Understood. I'll let that
Not
go.
the only one.
I'll
Okay?
let that go.
On the record.
Tua's been the topic, and yesterday you praised Tua, and I know when you interviewed for this job, I'm sure Tua was first and foremost mentioned. Where are we at with Tua Tagovailoa as the future of the NFL?
Taron Armstead,
Dolphins,
James
where
Daniel,
he was his head coach going into the situation.
Allen Robinson.
Well, currently I'm right here. It was his 24th birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday, Tua.
A little belated, but we're good. Rely on each other, and I'm really excited moving forward because the guy has some skills that I think are untapped. I think it's important that you empower the quarterback with the rest of the players around him, and the scheme that you bring forth. So I think his best days are in front of him, and that's a really cool piece of the process to be a part of as a coach.
Did you hear what this man said? He's got skills that are untapped. You know, I had this conversation with someone today, and they said to me, they're like, you know, the way he talks, it's like him and his staff know they're smarter than the staff that was here before them. You know, you hear he talks about empowering the quarterback, putting the right personnel around him. He talked about having coaches that believe in him, and he specifically talked about himself, Frank Smith, and Darrell Bevel. And he says his best days are in front of him. I'm telling you right now, he's going to get this kid right because he's going to get the offensive line right. And I can already hear the jeers and feel the water from the tears of all the Tua haters out there. But him and his staff are going to fix this situation. You got that feeling. And if they don't, they got 2 first-round picks next year to go get their guy. You know, they're not tied to Tua Tagovailoa. They're going to try and right the ship and get him right. Remember, they didn't draft him, so McDaniel's not tied to him. And you're not going to, you know, if Tua fails this year, you're not going to fire McDaniel after 1 year. You know what the optics would be for the rest of the league? What you're doing is you're going to say you got 1 year to get Tua right. If we don't see like the progress we see, or you don't think he's progressed enough in that 1 year, we got 2 first-round picks. We'll go get someone you want us to target. That's what the exact plan is right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, you've seen the players that have excelled in this scheme. The Jake Plumbers, the Kirk Cousins, you know, and the Jimmy G's. And Tua has a higher ceiling than all those guys when they came in their early developmental years. See, this is why I've told everyone I hate pro comps, right? When everyone heard Drew Brees and when everyone heard Russell Wilson, they automatically assumed when you drafted Tua, that's what you got. The casual mind didn't come out of them and realize it takes coaching, environment, and personnel around the said quarterback for him to reach his ceiling. That's why they always talk about floors. Because what you've seen the last 2 years are more towards Tua's floor than it is towards his ceiling. Let's keep it rolling.
Go through your career for the viewers at home. Like the best year Robert Griffin ever had, you were one of his coaches. The best year Matt Ryan ever had, you were one of his coaches. The best year Jimmy Garoppolo ever had, you were one of his coaches.
The only MVP season
people
was
right
in
off Tua and
Shanahan.
they're like, Tua. Oh, Burrow and Herbert. Yes, Tua. Does that challenge you to be okay? No. Let's get the most and let's maximize this guy.
First of all, do you do all of your own research because you're on it? that is definitely the case. So I commend you. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is.
See, you know, as a right coach, there, he's killing the Herbert and Burrow. Let's go.
Each individual player, and regardless,
he's telling you situation matters.
Or what's going to happen after. As a competitor, you want to say, I want your best year attached to a year that I'm coaching you. So that's something that I think is a driving force, really, when you're able to get a player maybe a couple years into the league, but you know, it's his first year in the system. That's something that I think our coaching staff is prepared to do, and accepts that challenge and understands what it is, and takes really complete ownership over it.
Jalen Waddle broke the rookie record for receptions last year in an offense different than yours. You worked with Deebo Samuel last year. Immediately, everyone wants to say, Jalen Waddle's going to be Deebo Samuel. Let's take that off the table for now. You walk into that room and you see what Jalen Waddle did in his first year stepping on an NFL field. What can you do as an offensive mastermind? And how does that excite you to take this job and say, hey, let's build even more on that?
Who's mastermind right here? Dude, nice.
That was good.
Yeah, it was good. Thanks for saying that. You look at that with a fine-tooth comb all the time. You know, there's numbers attached to production, but there's stuff beyond that. And each and every reception and each and every really rep that you have out there, it's important as a coach to take a fine-tooth comb to it and say, okay, what are you doing here? What is the timing of the play? What are your techniques? And how are you attacking leverage? What are you seeing? All of these things in his game are relatively new. You know, he has 1 year under his belt, and so from a coaching staff perspective, we see a ton of untapped potential. You want to look at it just the same way we're talking about Tua, that okay, this was a cool year, but this should be your worst year in how you play.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers are there's too many variables to sit here and say, okay, you're going to always have more than 103 receptions or whatever he had. That's not what I'm talking about. It's how you play the game within the offense, maximizing every opportunity. And you know, we think there's more explosiveness with the ball in his hands on the field that we can untap. We think there's a lot of route running stuff that he can really benefit from.
Oh, baby, I'm about to go
like
in.
Wes Welker, you know, and so both of those guys are young, hungry players, and as a coaching staff, that's
Woo!
like the
You'll hear why I'm
prerequisite that
excited.
says, okay, green light, go, coaches, go to work, and let's see what we can get out of these guys.
I'm
Right
gonna tell
quick,
you
we're
why I'm
wrapping right
excited
here.
right now. You know why I'm excited right now? Do you know what he's telling you? Do you know what he's saying to you about now Tua and now Waddle? Do you know what he's saying? Notice how he keeps using the word untap, but over here he's talking about we think he can be more explosive with the ball in his hands. We think there's more things we can do with him. Route running, meaning a more expansive route tree. Right now he's telling you between Tua and Waddle, we know how to use these guys. They didn't know how to use these guys. That's exactly what he's telling you. He is telling you they did not know how to use these guys. And what did I keep telling you all last year? It's like you had a freaking Lamborghini, but you're driving it like an 80-year-old woman driving like a Volkswagen Bug, a Beetle. That's exactly what he's telling you right now. That's why he keeps using the word guys, this guy just came off a 1,000-yard season, broke the rookie reception record, and he's telling you they didn't even untap him. And he said he can be more explosive with the ball in his hands, and we can get him doing better things as a route runner. He's telling you they didn't know how to use this guy. That's literally what he's telling you. Like, this man, I'm sorry, I go back to what I said. He's humble, he's selfless, his ego, he checks it at the door. But he's taken some swipes at Flores and the past staff, and he's been doing it since he got hired. When he talked about being likable in the building, he kept referring to that. Bonds with players. Now he's talking about empowering the quarterback, making the quarterback know people around him believe in him. Talking about there's untapped potential with the quarterback. Then he's talking about Waddle, who was even a star last year, even though he wasn't being used properly. They kept telling everyone. And he's telling now they didn't even know how to use Waddle. So he's saying the guy some of the fan base is already writing off. Hold on a second. They didn't know how to use them. The guy everyone in the fan base is loving after his rookie season. Hold on. They didn't know how to use them. That's what this guy's telling everyone. Like, I'm going to tell you right now. I hope for your sake, Boyer and company, you do not take a step back. And by the way, speaking of the defense, if you are a Patreon, I'm waiting for the green light on it. I've been giving some fantastic information. I don't have the green light on it to post it yet. I was told might get the green light tomorrow. I'm hoping I get the green light tomorrow. So Patreons, be on the lookout. There could be something dropping tomorrow for y'all. But anyways, Boyer defense, you better not regress. Because I swear on life, it looks like the offense is going to take the step forward we needed to take. The offense, it looks like we're going to get it right. And it goes back to the durability thing we're talking about with Tua. You know, people keep forgetting Jesse Davis and all these jabronis we had out there protecting him. Why do you think there's pretty much a known consensus we're going to go deep on the offensive line in free agency and potentially the draft here? Because they're about to flip it into their image, into their vision. They got the money to do it. They got the draft capital to do it. That's why everyone's loving Zion Nelson at 29 right now. I'll take care of you, Joseph. Inbox me on Patreon with your YouTube channel address. So, I'm just saying. Everyone's been wanting the offense to play catch up. I'm not going to say they're going to be where they're going to be at in 2 to 3 years from now because I can only imagine where they'll be at by then. But what I am going to say is this. They're going to be a lot better than last year.
There's a lot of talk of Jimmy G and all this stuff. Forget about on the Dolphins or anything or where he's in the Niners. Jimmy G as a player, just for the fans at home, coaching him for all those years, for fans who are wondering if he might be their new quarterback, what would be your assessment on him?
Just talking about Jimmy G as a player that I've been able to coach, have tremendous amount of respect for this guy. He's able to ignore the noise. He takes his job very serious. Guys gravitate to him. I feel honored and privileged to have coached him. And he's a hell of a player that is a productive NFL guy that can have success in multiple offenses and can do it for years to come.
That's it. We could talk about this for an hour, but Mike McDaniel, we are wrapping now because we've got our next segment to do, but I want to appreciate.
So, shout out to Mike McDaniel. Even showing love to his former quarterback. Gotta love it. Shout out to Mike McDaniel. Good little interview. Shout out to Peter Schrager for actually giving us a really informative interview for Dolphin fans and a lot of good tidbits. I'm telling you, man, it's just he is the breath of fresh air that this team, this franchise, the players on this team need, man. I'm telling you right now. So absolutely loving it. All right, let's get into it because we had a lot of players talking about how they had their interview with the Dolphins, and it all starts with a guy who you've heard me talk about quite a bit on this channel. Tyler Linderbaum did confirm that he has met with the Miami Dolphins. Now, he also did confirm while he's at the combine that I believe he's at about 289 right now and he's maxed out. And I know a lot of people are going to say, does that worry you? No, it doesn't, because he's still a body mover and he's a high intelligent player, and it's a lot mental when you're playing center. And I think Tyler Linderbaum is going to be a very, very, very good center in the NFL. And I actually do think he has the biggest positional gap of any position in this draft from 1 to 2. What I mean by that is it's the biggest drop off from center 1 to center 2 than it is at any other position, going from 1 to 2 at whatever said position. So Tyler Linderbaum, I think he's a stud. And I love that they're doing their due diligence. And again, I'll remind everyone, I'll use the same example as yesterday, Green Bay, they drafted Jar Alexander and they didn't even interview him. So I just want to show everyone this is to give us a sense and a feel of the homework they're doing right now, right? That's more so what I'm trying to do. So they did talk to another center, and he shouldn't surprise everyone. He's someone I've talked about that I think is a real big potential possibility that they might draft. And that's former Boston College center Alec Lindstrom, who obviously worked with Matt Applebaum, right? And so now he's going to, this is a little clip that Travis Wingfield posted about him talking about Applebaum and his experience in a wide zone offense.
Guys like Alex Mack. He played for the Falcons with my brother. Chris said he's a great guy, and watching someone like him, he's someone that I watched growing up with his tape, big outside zone guy, and he's a great player. And then looking at that offense, that's kind of where we got our offense at BC. Coach Signetti got it from San Francisco. Coach Applebaum with the Dolphins learned from the San Francisco O-line coach, and the way they
he's
use
a fit.
Team,
I'm telling you,
I really think that fits me. But again, I'll do whatever, wherever. But I really like watching him on the field.
And
guys like Alex Mack, he played for the Falcons.
I actually have him as my center too. I just think Linderbaum is way better than him. But Alec Lindstrom's pretty good. So and he's a scheme fit, so he makes sense. So, he talked about his familiarity there. He talked about where Matt Applebaum got Boston College's, blocking scheme and offensive, and how they run their offense. And I'm just, it makes a lot of sense. You're going to get him in, the mid rounds. It just makes a ton of sense. And the familiarity, that's going to be a guy they target. I'm telling you right now, be on the lookout. Another guy who's kind of a sleeper in this draft. Shout out, where are you, Florida born? Kentucky offensive lineman Darian Kinnard. He listed the Dolphins first when he was asked what teams he's met with. He called it a heart-to-heart with Miami and said he likes that the staff has former NFL players on it. And this is a guy, tackle, but he is also projected he can kick inside at the next level. Interesting. Florida born, where you at? Maybe they're doing some homework on Will Levis for the next year, or maybe they're trying to get some intel on Wandell too. So again, another offensive lineman, Darian Kinnard. He's okay. He's all right. He doesn't blow me away. Continuing on, another Boston College alum, and I know a lot of people have been rumoring him to go potentially at 29. Zion Johnson. He talked about Matt Applebaum, and and this was the clip that Travis Wingfield posted from today.
I would say for me, when I first got to Davidson, I only really played 1 year in college. I was on the team for 2, played 1 year, really behind everybody else in terms of development. I didn't know what an overfront was. I didn't know what a 3 technique was. I was so behind. And Coach Applebaum was a guy who, took me aside. I'd go to his office in the evenings and go over that sort of thing. And that really helped me be able to get on the field my freshman year. And I'd say for a second story, when he came to Boston College, he was really a unique coach I had, because he's someone who, he has his base in terms of technique, but he's a guy that wants you to do whatever you can to win your rep, to do your job. And he's someone who wants to work with the whole offensive line to figure out what the best course of action is in terms of technique or various ways.
So, I mean, fantastic things to say. And again, another guy that makes a lot of sense potentially at 29, right? So he played some center at the Senior Bowl during the Senior Bowl week, obviously a guard. And the familiarity. And what's crazy too is another little clip that I don't know if anyone saw. Zion Johnson said he's talked with Miami so much they don't need to waste an official interview on him at this stage. Team in desperate need of O-line help. And this is what he said.
I think I fit very well, but I haven't talked to the Dolphins yet. I think I've talked to him quite a bit already, so I don't think they want to waste the formal on me. So, but I think I fit very well there.
So there you go. He said, I've talked to them so much already that they're probably not going to want to waste a formal interview on me. So that tells you right there, they did talk. They were around him a lot at the Senior Bowl. So, and obviously they know they got all the homework they need with Matt Applebaum. Did they really even need to sit down and talk with him? And you know, I got to say this too. Hey, if Michi's there at 50, you got to think about that if you don't take a wide receiver. Shout out to Perform Athlete and Georgia running back James Cook, obviously the brother of Dalvin Cook. Both are Perform Athletes. Shout out to the homie Nick Hooks. And he came out and he said, I'm a Dolphins fan. And it's good to see, man. You know, I kind of agree with Rome. I don't know about him as a lead back right now. But, you know, James Cook is a Dolphin fan playing for the hometown team. I like the kid, man. He's a different back than Dalvin Cook, so I don't want people to see the name Dalvin Cook and automatically associate, oh, he's his brother. He must be like him. He's not the same. But shout out to James Cook, man. It's a good running back. Another guy who's actually in my top 15, and you know, you'll hear a little bit about him when I do my big board this weekend, which will be coming on Sunday, guys. Be out on the lookout for my big board to be coming on Sunday for you guys. David Ferona's friend of the show, been on here, said came away really impressed with FIU running back Devontae Price from talking to him. I think he'll interview well with teams. He said he met with the Dolphins both at the Combine and Senior Bowl, and there were some of the best conversations he had with the team. So another guy not to sleep on, man. Devontae Price is low-key decent, man. I like him. So shout out to Devontae Price. Obviously, they're doing their homework with him. So, doing our due diligence with meeting running backs right now, right? Obviously, let's get into some of the names y'all came here for. Breece Hall said, I feel like I'm the best running back in the draft. Obviously, he excelled well in his own heavy run scheme and said he has met with the Dolphins. He said they embraced me with open arms. The meeting went really well. So at least we don't have any stone cold sitting there with your arm crossed interviewing Tua Flores nonsense to put up with anymore. That's kind of you know, that's kind of refreshing, no? No? So Breece Hall will, you know, man, they got to take care of a lot of needs for me to say they're going to take a running back at 29, even though I think it's smart because it's a glorified second round pick and you get that 50-year option. So having a guy till he's like 28, 29 on the cheap, especially if he's really good, is fantastic. And then he can just move off of him unless he's some, you know, Adrian Peterson or Jonathan Taylor right now type of back. Yeah, there's some good running backs in the class. Everyone, yeah, Rome, everyone hyped up about Brian Robinson Jr. this year. No, go John Robinson from Texas is where it's at next year, bro. That guy's probably going to go top 10. I would not be surprised if John Robinson next year out of Texas goes top 10. He might be the first running back in a few years that goes top 10. Shout out to Breece Hall. He's a beast. Wish he'd be there at 50, but let's be honest. Another guy who I like a lot, and shout out to the homie Richmond Webb, because, I mean, let's be honest, alum life. Texas A&M running back Isaiah Spiller compares himself to his running style to Adrian Peterson, Le'Veon Bell, and Joe Mixon. Said he's met with Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. Hopefully they like me, he said with a smile. The day one of these running backs compares themselves to, like, who's going to come out here and compare themselves to, like, Myles Gaskin? You know what I mean? Who's going to come out here and, like, compare themselves to a mid running back, you know? Who's gonna be the guy who has the cojones to do something like that? Who's got the cojones? Someone tell me. Shout out to Isaiah Spiller, though. He's awesome. He's a fantastic running back. Definitely top 3 for me at the position. I didn't see us talk to my running back 2 today, though, which is disappointing. And hurts me. All right. So, let's get into the running backs and let's get into the offensive linemen here. First of all, let's start off with the homie David Ferona's his latest article today. And He talks about the Dolphins meeting with receivers and O-line draft prospects at the scouting combine. He said, it's no secret the Miami Dolphins are going to have to revamp the offensive line and add some receiving targets for quarterback Tua Tagovailoa between free agency this month and the late April draft. At the NFL scouting combine this week in Indianapolis, the notion has easily been confirmed by the number of receiving and offensive line draft prospects that have said they have been in contact with the Dolphins. Alabama has highly regarded receivers. By the way, did anyone see the homie Evan Neal today? That man does not look 337. That guy looks 290. Good God. Alabama has highly regarded receivers coming out in Jameson Williams and John Mechie. Either one of them could add to the Crimson Tide connection to the Dolphins, already established from first-round picks in the last two drafts with Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Waddle. Mechie started considering what it would be like to reunite with the two, especially Waddle, after Mechie's role for Alabama in 2022 first grew when Waddle went down with his midseason ankle injury. He said, I think it'll be a little unfair if Waddle and I played together. I think if him and I played together, it would also be special, just like with any of my former Alabama offensive teammates. Man, Jameson Williams would be ridiculous, though. Mechie totaled 916 yards, 6 touchdowns on 55 catches in the 2020 season. That was quarterbacked by Mac Jones. He topped that in 2021 with 96 receptions for 1,142 yards and 8 touchdowns. He and Williams formed a dangerous duo in Tuscaloosa after Williams transferred in from Ohio State. Williams also said it would be meaningful to unite with other Crimson Tide alumni in Miami, although he didn't play with either Tagovailoa or Waddle because he was with the Buckeyes then, but also had their seasons cut short following knee injuries that proved to be ACL tears. Mechie in the SEC championship game against Georgia and Williams in the national championship game against the same Bulldogs about a month later. The two said the recoveries are going well and they hope to be able to participate in training camp ahead of their rookie seasons. Beyond the two Alabama receivers, Arkansas's Treylon Burks listed the Dolphins among teams he has met with. Please let him fall. Please let him fall. With new man, if that guy falls out of 15, you got to think about trading up. With new Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel coming from the San Francisco 49ers, it's interesting that Burks mentioned Pro Bowl 49ers wideout Deebo Samuel is someone he likes to mimic his game after. Ease up, everyone. McDaniel found creative ways to get Samuel involved, even in the running game last year in San Francisco, and Burks measures comparably as a 6'3", 225-pound athletic freak. Of different stature at 5'11", 183 pounds, Penn State receiver Jahan Dotson has been linked to the Dolphins in mock drafts and has spoken with the team. Like, really? We're going to go for a 5'11", 183 guy again? Stop. I had a good conversation with the Dolphins. We got Bowden coming back too. What we're trying to win the midget Olympics? I had a good conversation with Dolphin staff talking to almost the entire staff, Dotson said. It was a great conversation, just going over board work, chalk talk, teaching me a couple of plays, just kind of getting to know each other. Not as highly ranked as others is Miami Hurricanes receiver Charleston Rambo noted he has met with the Dolphins and that after playing in Miami for his final college season at after transferring to Oklahoma, he said he would enjoy staying in the season. Rambo's one season at was a record-breaking one, going for 79 receptions, 1,172 yards, which were both Miami season records. Among offensive linemen they have met with in the Dolphins are tackles Darian Kinnard, Daniel Failele, Bernard Raymond, where you are Florida-born, I know you love him, and Iowa center Tyler Linderbaum. Kinnard gave some of the best insight of what it's like to meet the Dolphins' new coaching staff. Meeting with the Dolphins definitely was a heart-to-heart. These coaches seem like guys who are experienced. They played in the league, and now they're coaching. They definitely understand what it's like to be in the player's head, and it's going to be a better connection than a coach yelling at you or ripping your ass for something stupid. Boston College interior lineman Zion Johnson and center Alec Lindstrom said they haven't spoken with the Dolphins at the combine as of Thursday morning, but indicated they feel like they are likely in the mix given their offensive line coach, Matt Applebaum, is now the Dolphins offensive line coach and already familiar with them. Exactly, right? You don't need all the homework's done. So it's clear so far, running back, we are doing our due diligence with running backs, offensive linemen, and wide receivers. Not so much with tight ends, it didn't seem. But it's going to be interesting because now, as the weekend progresses, man, I hope we talk to Matt Ariza. It's going to be interesting to see who we talk out of the linebackers, any corners we talk with. Going to be real interesting to see how that all goes forward. And then from the Miami Herald, Dolphins will have options at running back in draft, but are looking for right value. The Dolphins' lead running back at the start of the 2022 NFL season could be currently on the roster, or it could be an impending free agent. And there's a chance it could be any of the nearly 4 dozen running back prospects gathered in Indianapolis for the NFL Scouting Combine this week. The team knows the importance of the running game, especially in new coach Mike McDaniel's scheme, but that doesn't necessarily mean the Dolphins will use high draft capital or significant cap space on a running back in the offseason. The value of the running back position, what value do you put on anywhere from a third to half of the plays on any given offensive season? McDaniel said Wednesday. You've got to realize running backs collectively, whether you do it part to a whole or one guy, you have about 300 to 400 some touches, so it's incredibly valuable. But there is a more diverse way of finding them. There is traditionally, from a historical perspective, there are rookies, second-year players, mid to late round draft picks that have more success at the position than some players. It's of paramount importance. We just have a concrete skill set that we have found can really flourish in a zone blocking system. So right there, he's telling you we already have an athletic profile we look for and we target. So that tells you if they have that athletic profile, but there's an elite one there at 29, they might pull the trigger, but it has to be an elite version of the profile they're looking at, right? It can't just be anyone. As the NFL has moved to a pass-first league in recent seasons, the running back position has become devalued with fewer teams picking backs at the bottom of the draft. Day 2 and Day 3 have become the sweet spot for finding productive players whose ability to run routes, catch passes, and block is now just as sought after as they're running. Again, listen, you could have that elite version at 29, but you could also have a really good one at 50, potentially, right? Or later on in the draft. All depends on what their athletic profile is. I'm not in the scouting department, so I can't tell you what exactly it is. You know what I mean? The running back position, I can give you an idea, and I will when I get to my running back big board. The running back position is very important to McDaniel, general manager Chris Greer said. And to have success in the league, you kind of have to run the ball as well. It's one of the positions we'll be studying hard, and we love this time of year with free agency in the draft. 2 of the year's top running back prospects, Isaiah Spiller and Breece Hall, said Thursday that they've had meetings with the Dolphins in Indianapolis. As the Dolphins continue to evaluate their roster and potential additions through the draft free agency, they figure to seek running backs with good patience and vision for cutback lanes, prime skill sets, and zone running scheme. Yep. Spiller, 6'1", 215, rushed for 2,993 yards and 25 touchdowns in college, but was also a factor as receiver, catching 74 passes for 585 yards and a touchdown. Just being patient and letting my blocks set up, he said, running aggressively and physical. Hall, who's 6'1", 220, called himself the best running back in the class. I feel like over the last 2 years, no running back has been able to do what I've been able to do, he said. Hall's confident talk isn't hyperbole. During the last 2 seasons, he's touched the ball 590 times, more than any running back in college football. Despite the large workload, he remained a big play threat and one of the toughest players to bring down. His 22 carries of at least 15 yards or more ranked 7th this past season, and his 194 broken tackles over the last 3 years led the nation, according to PFF. He's also well-versed in the zone running scheme McDaniel seeks to implement. Hall's 175 zone rushing attempts in 2021 ranked 11th in the nation. As a freshman, I was kind of a deer in the headlights, Hall said. I was trying to make a play, but as I got older, the game started to slow down to me, and I started to control the pace of the game. Hall acknowledged teams may have concerns about his speed, but he's looking forward to running the 40-yard dash on Friday. I'm just really smooth and patient. I've always said I'm slow to and fast through. So Daniel Jeremiah lists Hall and Spiller as the 35th and 36th ranked prospects out of 50, respectively. The Dolphins have a pair of 4th-round picks, where Jeremiah said the best value at running back might be. The team also has decisions to make on Duke Johnson and Philip Lindsay, as well as Salvon Ahmed, who is an exclusive rights free agent. At the end of the day, Greer said, if if there is that talent that is just so unique that you have to take him. People argue whether Saquon Barkley worked out or not, but he's an extremely talented football player. Ezekiel Elliott was the same. So you kind of go through those and make your judgments. But at the end of the day, you always do what's best for your team. Mike's had a lot of success finding good running backs in that mid-late round in terms of evaluation. We had Kenyon Drake in the third round a few years ago. So that balance is right. At the end of the day, you go with your gut and that information you find out on your players. We work through it and you decide the value of the player if you end up taking him, whether it's the first round or the seventh round or a free agent. So again, stressing the importance of the running back position. They're going to figure it out. It's anyone's guess where they're going to take anyone and how in love they're going to fall with this guy and that guy. It's really, once we see the holes they fill in free agency, I think we'll have a much better idea of what they might be able to do. Right. I agree. Tyler Algier from BYU is a stud running back. He's in my top 5. Oos 808. All right. Before I get out of here, I did want to go over this with you guys. Some combine results. Just if you guys haven't had a chance yet today, I just wanted to look over the wide receivers specifically. So let me bring this up here. So Calvin Austin out of Memphis, he measured in at 5'8", 170, but he ran a 4.32, had an 11.3 broad and a 39 vert. He had a crazy day. David Bell, the guy I'm all high on, 6'1", 212. He only posted a 9.10 and a 4.62 and a 33. Now we knew he wasn't an athletic freak. He's more about route running. He's more of that Keenan Allen type of player. He relies on route running to get him into open space and to separate. He's a very crisp, very good route runner. He's got great hands and he's a lead at the catch point. Slade Bolden, I know a lot of people quietly like him. He came in at 5'11", 193, ran a 4.62, 9.8 broad and a 32 vert. Treylon Burks, he came in at 6'2", 225. He almost had a 10-inch hand. He had a 33 vert. He had a 10.2 broad, and he had that 4.5 40. I'm not worried. This guy's a freak. Trust me. Jahan Dotson, 5'11", 178. He ran a 4.41. He had a 10.1 broad, and he had a 36 vert. And obviously his wingspan wasn't crazy. I know a guy a lot of y'all quietly like out of Texas Tech, Eric Azukanema. He they don't have his 40 yet. I don't know if he ran it, but he came in at 6'2", 209, 36.5-inch vert. He had a 10.6 broad. Going down a little bit, Drake London. He came in at 6'4", 219. He had a 33-inch wingspan. Michi, 5'11", 187, just under 31-inch wingspan. Sky Moore, who had a really good day. He was in my top 15. 5'10", 195. Look at his hands, 10 1/4 hands, 34.5-inch vert. He had a 10.5 broad and a 4.39 40. Chris Olave obviously came in at 6 even, 187, 9.5-inch hands, 31.13-inch wingspan. He had the 32-inch vert, but he had a 4.26 40. George Pickens had a 4.43, and then he posted a 4.4 right after. He came in at 6'3", 195. Don't sleep on George. He's good. Another guy, too, out of Cincinnati, he's good. Alec Pierce, he's in my top 15, 6'3", 211. He had a 40.5-inch vert and a 4.33 40. He's a beast, man. For you Miami fans, this was Charleston Rambo, 33.5-inch vert, 9.10 broad, and a 4.51 40. Wan'Dale Robinson came in at 5'8". Look at his wingspan, 27.63 inches. He had a 34.5-inch vert, 9.10 broad, but he ran at a 4.38. So mid rounds for him all day. A guy who's in my who's around my top 15, Khalil Shakir out of Boise, 4.35 40. 10-4 broad, 34.5 vert. Jalen Tobin, another guy I quietly like, out of South Alabama, 6'1", 194, 36 inch vert, 10-3 broad, 4.44 40 today. Christian Watson was a monster today, 6'4", 208. Look at his hands, over 10-inch hands, 32.5-inch wingspan, 38.5-inch vert, 11.4 broad. I believe that 11.4 broad is the 7th farthest broad jump since 1999 amongst receivers. And he also had a 4.28 40. And then, Garrett Wilson, he went out and put up a 4.37. He had a 10.3 broad, a 36 vert, 6 foot even, 183. I like him a lot too. So those were the receiver numbers today. And then quickly, just because there are a few guys I do want to highlight on the tight ends, because there's a few guys who might making the conversion. First of all, I gotta point it out. Where are you? You are, dude. Greg Dulcich out of UCLA ran a 4.61 at 6'4", 243. And then Jelani Woods from Virginia at 6'7", 253 ran a 4.61 today. Crazy. Guy I wanted to highlight, though, as a fullback, potential fullback option, Chigo Okonkwo. He ran a 4.52. He's 6'2", 238. That guy could be a potential fullback option at the next level. So then, really, those are really who I want to talk about. I couldn't believe the guy's 6'7" and runs a 40. And, Chico running this 4.52. I mean, at 6'2", 238, low to the ground, compact frame. Maybe you put him back there. He's a beast too. So, a couple guys on this list who could potentially make the shift to fullback, and Chigo is one of the guy I'd watch. Guys, here's the deal. I'm going to be going live on Sunday, and we're going to have our big board. All right, we're going to do the running back big board, our first draft big board of the season. And then next week, I'm going to do the first receiver big board of the season. Tomorrow night, your boy is going to go out and be seeing the Batman. So if anything breaks, if anything happens, or if anything interesting comes from the combine, if I do go late, if I go live tomorrow, it will be late at night. So, you'll see me potentially late at night because I won't, I'm going to see the movie at 5:15. It's 3 hours. I won't be out of there till 8:15. So, appreciate each and every one of you, man, for coming out and spending some time. Over 450 of you at one point in the room. Guys, so I'll see you on Sunday. Depending on if any news breaks tomorrow or if something really super interesting happens at the combine or if I want to do a late night stream, it'll be happening tomorrow night past 10 Eastern. I'll be starting. So I might go late tomorrow night. We'll see how I feel. If not, expect me in the day on Sunday. All right. Because we'll be going over my big board. All right. Guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope y'all have a fantastic Thursday evening. If I don't see y'all tomorrow, I'll see y'all on Sunday. Until next time, you already know what time it is, baby. Fins up all day, every day. Love each and every one of you. Have a fantastic evening.